After editing the fields within your data, one of the first things you will do in preparing your data is convert the data into appropriate data types. A data type defines the possible values for a field or variable, the operations that can be done on that field, and the way the values of that type are stored. Depending on the file used to acquire the data, all your fields may come in as a string or Unicode. However, these two data types may not help you as you build your graph, especially when you start running rules analysis and determining business impacts. Converting your fields is a good best practice when building graphs. The three common ways to convert your data types are functions, functions within a variable, and the data analyzer node. Let's start with functions. Using functions, I am going to change the data types for 3 of the fields within the agreement's charges data. As I stated, a data type defines the possible values for a field. So if I take a look at the input BRD viewer, I see that the 3 fields I want to change, agreement number, customer account, and period number, are coming in as a data type double, indicated by the decimal point. But I don't want the decimal point. I just want the numbers. For this, I want to change these fields to the data type long, which will remove the decimal point and the trailing 0. To do that, I use the override omit statement. This changes the properties of the field to whatever I specify. For example, a long data type. Then I output the field using the same field name of agreement number. Now, here's what the function does. A function is a named section in the script that performs a specific task. In this case, changing the agreement number to a long data type. All BRAINscript functions use this form. Parameter 1, dot, function name, parenthesis, parameter 2. For this type of function, we didn't need a parameter 2. However, I will show you functions that do need a second parameter as I build this graph. Function names are always in lower camel case. This means the first word is in all lowercase and subsequent words have the first letter capitalized. For example, to lower, get item, or split. Let's continue with the rest of the fields. Now I name my node and run it. But before I do, I want to take a closer look at the override omit statement and how it differs from the rename statement. Let's see them side by side. The rename statement only applies to the field name. In this instance, the field name of occupation details. The override omit statement applies to all the records within the field. In this instance, changing all records found under the agreement number, customer account, and period number fields. While you can use the override omit to only change a field name, you cannot use the rename statement for anything other than renaming a field. Now I click OK. If I look at the BRD viewer, I see my 3 fields now have a long data type. While I chose long for my fields, the data type of integer would have done the same process of removing the decimal point. The next way you can convert data types is by using functions within a variable. Let's take a look at the customer account data. The field I want to change is the customer account number field. I want to eliminate that decimal point and just have a number. First, I need to convert it from a Unicode to a double. This will take care of that decimal and properly convert it to a number value. Then I change it from a double to a long to remove the decimal point. Let's do that using a variable. The first thing I do is create the actual variable. I place it before the omit all statement to ensure the node processes the variable first. Now, here's what the variable does. A variable is a storage location and associated name for a piece of data. In this case, the function of turning the customer account number from a Unicode to a double to a long. Variables are defined by simply stating a name and what information they should contain. In other words, variable name equals expression. Variables are a good tool to use when dealing with numerous edits. Rather than doing all the work in emit statements, variable can help make the coding cleaner and easier to read. When naming a variable, keep in mind a variable must begin with a letter or underscore, and a variable can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. Let's continue configuring the node. Once I've created the variable, I can emit it with all the other fields by using an override emit statement. Always make sure to emit your variables. If you don't, the variable sits there and does not get used properly. Now I name my node and run it. Let's take a look at the two BRD viewers. If I take a look at the input BRD viewer, I see the customer account number field as a Unicode text. However, looking at the output BRD viewer, I see that our variable has changed the data to a long. The last and most common way to convert data types is by using the Data Analyzer node. The Data Analyzer node converts any fields in the data into a more appropriate data type. While this node isn't 100% accurate based on your analytic needs, it does help you to minimize the amount of fields you need to convert manually. There is no configuration for the Data Analyzer node. All I have to do is run it. If I take a look at the input BRD viewer, I see all the fields with the data type of string. However, if I take a look at the first output pin, I see that the fields have been converted. Let's also take a peek at the other output pins for this node. The second pin displays the analysis of the conversion. You can see how the data type was converted, what the min and max value of the data was, what this min and max length was, if any data converted with a null value, and the BRAINscript used in the conversion. The last pin is a histogram of the data. The histogram displays the occurrence count for each discrete value in a specified column of data. Before moving on, I want to show you one thing you can do with this Data Analyzer node. Returning to the second pin of the node, I want to show you how you can copy the text in the BRAINscript conversion field. In some cases, the data type conversion provided by the Data Analyzer node is not the conversion you were looking for in regards to certain fields. So by copying the BRAINscript conversion text, you can paste the text into a filter node. This allows you to keep the conversion you want and change those you don't. Let me demonstrate. To copy the BRAINscript, first highlight the whole field and click the copy icon. This copies the text to your clipboard, similar to how Microsoft works. I'm going to move the Data Analyzer node out of the way and join a filter node to the agreements data. Then I remove the script that's there and paste in the script I copied from the BRAINscript conversion field. The field I want to revert back is the invoice number field at the bottom of the script. I want to take it back to a string data type. So I make my small change to that line of script. Now I name my node and run it. Let's take a look at the two BRD viewers. If I take a look at the input BRD viewer, I see all my fields as a string. However, when I look at the output BRD viewer, I see all my fields have converted except invoice number, which I kept as a string. And that are the different ways you can convert data types.